Hey guys, hope you're having a fantastic day wherever you are in the world. Today we're going to be eating Singaporean food. According to the CIA, there are 75% Chinese people living in Singapore, 13%-ish is Malay, Indian, almost 10%, and of course, there are many expats living there as well. I stayed in Singapore for about 9 months of my whole life, and when I was there, I saw a lot of diverse foods. There's a ton of things I could say about Singapore, but let's talk about our dishes. Here we have satay, chicken satay, and it comes with a sauce. And here we have, I can never say this correctly, Char Kway Teow. I got this food from Layang Layang, and the way they spell this noodle dish is CHOW space KUEH space TEOW. Char Kway Teow. It's a stir-fried flat rice noodle with fresh shrimp, squid, bean sprouts, eggs, soy sauce, and chili paste. As an appetizer, we have Murtabak, which is an Indian pancake. I'll give you a close look. And we have a sauce here, and this sauce is very thin. So I need to take it off the plate so it doesn't drip. Here's a close-up. And Murtabak is said to be originated from Saudi Arabia, but it's eaten in Singapore, Thailand, India of course, as well as Malaysia and other countries. Singapore has a Chinatown, and it also has Little India. Before anything else, let's have a sip of our barley tea. Shall we begin with the appetizer, Murtabak? Let's see. So originally this came all together in one piece, and then they cut it up. Now inside, it looks to be, there's definitely some meat in that. Let's dip it into the sauce. The texture is a bit dry. It's like a chicken breast type of dry. And it's slightly spicy. Just a hint. It's a gentle spice. I wonder if the spice is coming from the sauce or if it's coming from the pancake itself. I have a feeling it's from the sauce, but let's find out. The sauce. It reminds me of curry. It's sweet though. It's like someone put candy in that. This time let's try the Murtabak without the sauce and compare it. Oh, and look, when I lifted the Murtabak, the layers just popped open. It blossomed like a flower. Oh, look at that texture. It's like 50%-ish transparent. It's like a book. You flip through it. Like, once upon a time, there was a princess named Murtabak. The base of that is a little rubbery. So when you bite into it, you kind of have to tug at it for it to break apart. It's one of those things you could eat without feeling too guilty. And you definitely see some onion in that. I have like sauce dripping down as if I'm a Dracula. I remember walking down in Singapore's Little India, like around the Merlion, there's a lot of shiny buildings, all these tall construction. But when you go to Little India, it feels like a different place. There's quite a few temples around the area and lots of Indian restaurants with vegetarian options. You know, they have biryani and a 24-hour shopping area. What was it called? Mustafa Center. Ah, actually, I wrote some blog posts on Little India a couple years back. So if you want to see those blog posts, then check out the links in the description box. So Char Kway Teow is something that I've seen many times in Singapore. However, I don't think I even tried it once. I've had bak kut teh a handful of times. That is so delicious. And they did sell it at this restaurant I got all this food from, but I wanted to try new things. Well, the satay I had many times too, but this is something I've been craving. So wait, why am I holding the knife? I'll put this back over here. Right, so this one has been cut up so the noodles don't have that majestic, like, long hair-like feel to it. There are bean sprouts and prawns and squid. Can you hear the crunch? It's all because of the bean sprouts. It's kind of loud after a while. And some foods you chew like 6 times and the crunch is gone. But this one, like, no matter how many times you chew it, the crunch just won't die. If you're watching a movie, this is a good food for that. This one, you're gonna have to put the volume up. It's so loud right now. Everything is relative. If I was eating this at a hawker center and there's like a lot of lively noises around me, then this would not sound like deafening in my ear. But because in my room right now it's pretty quiet, like, this is, wow, a huge voluminous soundtrack. The history of each dish can be very interesting. You know, some foods, like this one, it's traveled wide and far. In the history of mankind, there's been a lot of cultural exchange, you know? Lots of cultural import and export. So like something like Murtabak, although it is said it's originated from Saudi Arabia, it reaches far. You know, it's even made it to California, and that's how I'm eating it here today. Now, this particular Murtabak, it may or may not taste like the original recipe. But how many foods that we eat today, even if it's like very delicious, how do we even know that tastes like the original recipe? I mean, thousands of years ago, maybe even tens of thousands of years ago, someone made the first satay or the first bowl of noodles. Who exactly? We're not sure. Maybe it was a grandma. Maybe it was an uncle. Whatever we create, you know, all the ideas that we come up with, the person who made it, who invented it, if it was us, we'd want to take full credit for it and be remembered for that. But sometimes just time just covers all that information, and then what do you have left? Just the ideas and floating around and passing through people. And when these concepts or dishes or recipes, they get passed on into different countries, the country and the people in there change the recipe up a bit into their own taste. And then from there, they pass it down to their offspring, or they bring it to another country. So in the process, when a lot of that tinkering happens, the recipe, well, it could definitely lose its original vibes, or it might become a better version of itself. All right, we have some pieces of eggs in here. I definitely taste that. And we have the squid. There's not many pieces of the squid. You know, I would say the ratio is like 2% squid and 5% shrimp. We got 2 pieces of prawn here. And then mostly it's the rice noodle and the bean sprouts. It's a 50% crunch. We also have bits of scallion. Actually, my mom usually uses this cup for drinking red wine, but we put the satay sauce in this. The satay sauce is made of peanut. Now, before we move on to the satay, shall we try some of the prawn? Are you the kind of person who eats the tail or leaves it? When I was a kid, I used to always leave the tail behind. But ever since people were saying the tail has calcium, I just eat it. You know, when I was growing up, we didn't have internet. I think when I was in 4th grade, we had dial-up, and it was very slow to connect to the internet. These days, we just put in the Wi-Fi password and then we're connected within like 5 seconds. And then once it connects and the internet is kind of slow, then we might be like, oh my gosh, whatever page to load, like we just want it to be instant. But even 1 second or 2 second lag, we're like, oh, it's so slow, right? But when I was in 4th grade, each page took like 1 minute to load and then like another minute to connect to the internet. It's not like there was a lot of blogs out there with information. These days, it's whoever has access to the internet, they're the ones with all their information. It's in their hand. Back in like the 90s, it was about who knows all the stuff in their head. So it's like if you ever had a question about anything, there are always those designated people that everyone knew. They're like, oh yeah, Jane, she's a walking encyclopedia. So some Janes, they really like helping people and answering all their questions. Other Janes try to hide away because, you know, everyone knew that she had so much info in here. Like her mind was like the internet, almost. I read an article yesterday. Companies are trying to develop a way for you to type using your mind. Can you imagine you putting down all your private thoughts in this digital world? And if there's a hacker, they could share that info with anyone. So it's like a cool piece of technology, this mind reading, but also it's like kind of, it comes with its cons. The taste of this noodle dish is not as sweet as the Murtabak sauce, and this one's not spicy at all. It's savory. I think I've been mispronouncing this dish the whole time. It's more like Char Kway Teow, right? Char Kway Teow. Earlier I mentioned that a lot of these dishes we eat today have some sort of history, and this particular one, the Char Kway Teow, this one, when it was first invented, it was mainly served to laborers, and there's a high fat content, and the cost of the dish is low, so it was cheap, and it still provided, you know, it still made you full. So, but nowadays, this cost me like $10, so it's not cheap. You know, there are other places I could eat for $10 for even more filling meal. If the kings of like 2 centuries ago, they saw the way we eat today, they'd be like, how dare these peasants eat more than me? How do they have access to all this food? Shall we try some satay? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 satay sticks here, and I will give you a close-up look at them. They're like meaty popsicles because it's on a stick. Okay, so it got a little bit cold because, well, I've been focusing on other foods, but the taste is still there. It's yummy. Ooh. Oh, and there's some spiciness to it. It's kicking in. And the meat is juicy. If you look closely, you see a layer of marinade. It comes with the sauce, but oh, it tastes good as is. And it is a little bit salty, so you could definitely pair it with rice. This one's not sliding out. I think I have to say this is the sweetest of the 3 dishes. And here we have little pieces of cucumber and red onion. Throughout the week, at random times, I get ideas on what to talk about when I film a mukbang. But this past week, I was so occupied doing something else that I didn't get to write all those ideas down, so now I don't remember what I want to talk to you guys about. Let's solve that problem by having some satay dipped in peanut sauce. That peanut sauce is like very sweet. Oh, and it's kind of clumpy. There's a lot of substance in there. You know the Murtabak sauce? When you shake it, you get a little fearful it's gonna drip out of the container. But this one, you shake it and it has more of like it's thicker. So you don't have that fear as much. Let me show you a close-up of this peanut sauce. Actually, I'm gonna be going back to this restaurant tomorrow to meet up with a friend for lunch. And when I go tomorrow, I will order bakute. And I'll insert a picture of it right now. There's a lot of haters online. No matter what kind of content creator you are, you reach a certain level amount of views on each video or even number of subscribers, there's gonna be always someone hating on you, saying something negative, like not even constructive criticism. There's no logic behind what they say. It's just purely negative emotion. They could hide behind profile names, but if YouTube just decided to expose everyone's real identity, I wonder how embarrassed those haters might be. I mean, they have to take ownership of what they said. And if all their family and friends know, like, they've been saying so many rude things to people, it's like, how embarrassing is that? You know? Every comment we leave behind, anything that we do online, we leave a digital footprint. And anything you do can be tracked back to you. You can never be too careful, especially with all this technology. A couple years ago, I remember reading that there was a student, a male student. He was given a laptop from his school, and there's a web camera on there, right? So every 30 minutes, that laptop was programmed to take a photo of wherever it was, and then all those photos would be sent back to the school. So the staff at school would look at this kid's photos, and sometimes he'd be completely naked and walking around his room, and he had no idea that his laptop is taking photos of him. How creepy is that? Whoa! Catapulting noodles. You know, in times of war back in the day, I wonder if anyone thought of throwing food to their enemy, and their enemy will take a taste of it and they'd be like, wow, this is so delicious. And then they could tell their leader, hey, I think I can't fight for you anymore. I have to go to the other side. They have better noodles than we do, you know? I think the order that we tried the food today was perfecto. I didn't know which would be the most flavorful, but it seems that this is the least flavorful, medium, and then wow, sparkles. When you eat this, there's little fireworks going on. You know, making videos can be very psychological. You could say 100 correct things, 100 things that make people happy, and then you say one thing, or even if you write one little caption not being clear enough, then people can call you ignorant, or they just make all kinds of criticisms. And when someone says, oh, you're ignorant, just by watching one video or watching one caption, and if you think about the big picture, well, yeah, I'm a human being. I'm not gonna know everything, and I'm not gonna be perfect at communicating every single time, every single second of every content I make. So for someone to say, you're ignorant, and then of all the things that I've said, of all the things that I know up to this point, I tried to share, and then someone says that, that's like, how are you sure you're not the one who's ignorant? Okay, that was my mini rant. Ranting, I don't know, I don't really like to do it too much, but I'll just leave it at that. You know, there's so many beautiful things to think about in this world. So many amazing places to explore. So much delicious food out there waiting for you. So, yes, of course people are gonna annoy us. They're gonna make us angry. But if you focus on that all the time, what's the joy in life? As I film this, it is April, and I know some of you guys are graduating, some of you guys will be going to college soon, or maybe some of you guys are graduating from college. So I just want to say, congratulations, ASMR style. There's still days now. I mean, I graduated 8-ish years ago? No, 7 years ago from college, and I still miss it. You know, I went to a private art school, so I miss being surrounded by creative people every single day. It made me so excited to go to school because there's the people I went to school with, they're so, I'm just like, where did you get that idea? How? Like, and then they take that idea and they develop it, and I have fun developing my own concepts. So even if I didn't sleep too much, especially in senior year, I don't know, it just gave me so much endorphins. But yeah, health-wise, it was not a great time for me. Anyhow, I was saying I miss going to art college. I'm like, why? Every day you're learning something new. So I think it's like the brain is stimulated constantly and just wants to learn more and more. And the thing is, when I travel, I get those kind of feelings again. You know, the excitement of learning new things, adapting to different places, meeting new people, developing relationships, you know? So I always try to kind of model my current lifestyle into like an educational, productive, creative environment. And I use the satay sauce this time, the peanut sauce. One of the things about going to college or going to high school or just going to school in general, you have different classes every day. And particularly when I was in middle school, we have 6 classes a day, and every hour we switch to another class. So you change gears a lot, but you're taking little breaks here and there, and then you have to walk to another class usually. So you're getting a little bit of exercise in, even if it's just for like less than 5 minutes. And then we have PE as a class. So it's like exercising is mandatory when you're being graded too for PE. Now, being graded for PE, depending on the school or teacher you have, it could be a bit of a challenge getting an A, or it could be easy A. My life right now, although people will call me adult by body-wise, physically, but let me tell you, you reach almost 30, a lot of my friends and I were like, how did this happen? I still feel younger than being almost 30. You know, we are all like, how did this happen? It was only yesterday we were in college or middle school, you know? So anyhow, so every day what I do, I try to think, oh, I have a couple periods. I have a couple classes to go to today. So I might do some Illustrator work. I'm preparing press sheets right now, so I could pitch to sponsors. I could call that like a PR class or like an Illustrator class because I'm designing it. So I'll do that for 1 hour. And then in the second class of the day, edit the video. Editing videos takes quite a few hours actually. And then when I edit a chunk, a good portion of the video, I take a break. I go to the gym, because at that point my butt is probably falling asleep. One of the things I took for granted when I was a child was your body's more flexible and your butt doesn't fall asleep as much as when you're almost 30. So now I have to set aside time for my health. So I go to the gym, and then other things. Happiness, you could call it well-being, whatever you want to call it. Endorphin making time. You need to set aside time for that as well. Like maintaining your relationships, your friends and family. There's a time for that. There's a time for gym. There's a time for leisure, you know, like reading books. Reading books, it could be very educational as well. So that's also one of my values. I'm getting quite full, but this satay is so delicious. Oh, I think I should save this stick for my mom. I think I double dipped into this sauce, so I'll just finish this stick and then, well, I wanted to save a bigger stick for my mom, but here, let's do this. The part that's touching the sauce, I will eat it. Wait a second. Yeah. Okay, and these two I'll save for my mom because it's pretty tasty. Okay, I'll have a little bit more of the Murtabak. See, I'm noticing as time goes by, it's getting a little bit more challenging to cut this neatly. Online, this is translated as a pancake. American pancake and this pancake, totally different. American pancakes tend to be sweet because you put the syrup on there. This is a different kind of sweet. These pancakes have protein in it. This one had chicken, and this is like a curry sauce. And then we have like a Korean pancakes, which are savory. Hope you guys enjoyed eating Singaporean food with me. I'll see you guys in the next travel vlog and mukbang. Bye bye! Oh, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Miss Mina O for delicious selfies. And a lot of times people still ask me, where are you exactly? My answer to that is, check my Snapchat. I typically put the filter where it shows you which location you are at. I try to use that type of filter once a day, or in the very least, once every couple days. Bye bye!